Get ready to kick off your week with Weeksauce. And if you enjoy this show, find more podcasts like it over at amove.tv. Happy Monday, Kyle.
Happy Monday, Garrett.
How are you doing this fine morning/afternoon for me?
I'm doing okay.
Oh yeah, just okay.
I'm coming down. I'm in defense mode.
Ooh.
Kristen got a little trolled in our recent Warcraft. Troll is a strong word. Just impatience for a classic, if you will. She did Dark Souls already, and parry's a myth. It doesn't exist. I don't know why people demand it of you. That game is rightfully hard, but when you get into something like Warcraft 3, people have played it so many times that it's just been a pile of suggestions and then eventually anger when she doesn't take the suggestions. But video games, particularly strategy games, are about discovery. So she was feeling that this morning because we're playing this afternoon. So I'm a little worked up at the moment.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's just such a bummer.
Yeah.
The whole, just the gall, the gall
that's a good word.
Of Twitch viewers to expect that they should force their desires upon you, and that you should just thank them for it and follow them blindly.
Well, and it's maybe a bit of bad timing because there was a popular channel that did a speed run of Warcraft 3 last weekend. So everybody showed up to a Warcraft 3 stream expecting speed. But it's not about speed. It's about learning eventually that ghouls have 0 health and that you need to build abominations instead. So she's like whipping out her phone and she's like, fine, I'm just going to read a guide and I'll act like I've never played it before. I'm like, no, that's not the point. The joy of the discovery. But, Warcraft 3 is a oddly paced game compared to something like StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 takes a lot of breaks. It's like, okay, here's a hero mission. All right, here's a build heavy thing. Yep, okay, build, yep. And then it's like, okay, but this one has free minerals, or this one has free gas, or you can pick up stuff across the map or get units this special way. Whereas Warcraft 3 is like, boom, do it again. Yeah, you like that, didn't you? Do it again. Yeah.
And every now and then on Warcraft 3, you get the ones I hate, which are you have X amount of resources, and you just have to make it from point A to point B. There's no. I hate the no base building missions. They're the worst.
Most of those are actually in like the Orc campaign, and almost none are in the Undead, which makes sense because you're supposed to be swarmy and taking over the Quel'Thalas or Silvermoon area.
Yeah, it's luckily the do it again is what I most enjoy about that game.
Yeah. But they add new units, and when you haven't played particularly old Blizzard strategy games, you don't understand that when they give you a new unit, they don't mean like, hey, if you're interested, you might want to try out this. No, they're like, this is the unit that beats the level. What are you doing? Build this, spam this thing, you fool.
It's so obnoxious. I find that to be the complete opposite of how I enjoy video games.
Yeah, you want to find your own personality, your own your design of your army.
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine. But don't expect everyone to play the game that way, especially if it's not It's not like you had your title as Speedrun Warcraft 3 5000.
Yeah, but I appreciate getting a chance to talk about it because I'm trying to be cool. I'm like, oh, it's cool, but inside I'm just a raging inferno, one to smash.
Well, that's fine, man. Allow me then. If you do this, you're a terrible person, and I don't want you in our chat room. It's just the worst. It's the worst, man. I want to play. And Warcraft 3 is so precious to me, man. I did not play it competitively. It is the game where I would just lights off like a little just hermit nerd hunched over my keyboard, playing it as slow and methodically and as turtily as possible. Like, it's my toy soldiers game. I talk about this all the time. It's what I call them. Like Civ is one of these for me. And I know Warcraft 3 has the speed and the APM and the competitive nature of it, and even a competitive nature as you're now telling me of speedruns. I mean, I'm aware, Games Done Quick has just basically wrapped up. But if someone came in and tried to tell me how to play Warcraft 3, I would hate you.
In a campaign, it's tough, and I know a lot of them are trying to help, and it's what they have to share, and that's often the best way to get over those sort of characters in your channel. Is it's what they have. They want to say something. They want to participate. They want to be seen on the screen. They want to, they've already followed. They've already subscribed. In that case, they're supporters. But sometimes supporters just say awful things because they want to be heard. Like RIP. You die, RIP. It's, to me, that's like, that gets me fired up. I'm like, don't say RIP. No, if anything, we're not resting in peace. We're resting in fury. We're getting back up. We're getting on the horse. Like, don't dismiss this death as something that didn't mean anything, because it was a learning opportunity.
I'm starting to think the Twitch chat might just not be for us. If RIP gets you, man, why do you have it open?
No, I mean, honestly, in my own channel, it happens so rarely, and it's often an outsider sort of thing. Same with the Monk S. I don't dismiss deaths as something that was. Sure, it could be funny, but you don't dismiss them because those are your biggest learning opportunities. So those sort of things don't often exist in my chat. But when you change up games, you get new audience members, and they don't know the culture you're sporting at the moment.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because so much of what both of us do, and I don't stream games like you do, but it even happens in the podcast as well, like similar versions of what we're discussing here. Like, so much of what we do is it's about the conversation. It's about analyzing all of the different avenues, right? About there's no one right answer. It depends. Everything depends. Let's cover the different ways that we could attack this. So what we like to see, I think, not wanting to put words in your mouth, but is conversation. We want to see conversation in the chat room. We don't want to see this is it. This is it carved in stone. This is correct. This is wrong. That bores me to tears.
Well, it's so difficult to even hear that sort of stuff in a video game. And I often think of Dark Souls, a game that is repressively hard. And you'll see those opinions. And in that environment, they are possibly the most right they could be. Because things can be figured out. Blizzard games. Balance happens all the time. You can say, that's a cool idea. I'm glad you believe so hard. But we don't know as a community what's right yet. Whereas Dark Souls 1 has been speedrun, figured out, beaten thousands of times, never really balanced out or anything like that. So when someone tells you, the mace is shit, they're probably right. But I picture myself with a mace, and that way, that's the way you're going to play the game. So I appreciate you giving me a moment to calm down a little bit here. I'm ready. I'm ready to discuss video games because I had a great weekend. I had a great weekend playing XCOM. I beat my first Chosen. I beat my first Archon. I do feel like I'm cheating a little bit because the War of the Chosen XCOM 2 expansion allows you to do recon missions where you just reduce the game timer over and over again, because otherwise you wouldn't have time for things. That's what happened with Enemy Within. There's this whole side story going on. Do you want to investigate? You have a mole inside. I'm like, yeah, but the clock's ticking. I don't have time to find the mole. I'm going to beat the game.
Yeah, I dig that. Oh man, the Archons, dude. I have War of the Chosen, but I played a very large amount of XCOM 2 without it. So it took me a while to get to the Archons, and oh my god, man, those things suck.
They're tough, and I understand that when the missions start to look the same. And I had my very first bad RNG mission where I just failed. There were supposed to be these nodes along the way that I could destroy, but they were all behind doors. that would set off the alarms, I guess. I never found a single node, and this thing is miles away. I'm supposed to walk across the whole map, destroying nodes the whole way, and they're just nowhere to be seen. So I lose. So I'm flying back, and all my dudes are bummed. Worf is bummed. Garrus, the voice actor for Garrus, is like, the elders are victorious, and I'm about to slam my Steam controller. This freaking game's taunting me too bad. All my guys walk out and they like fall to their knees. They're like, "Oh, we lost. You guys didn't lose. The game did this to you."
Jesus, man.
It's not fair.
Oh God, you're hitting me in the feels, dude. Because this past week I went kind of ham on State of the Decay 2, or State of Decay 2. There's no the in there. I never played the first one. It looked interesting to me, but not interesting enough to go play it. But I picked up Xbox Game Pass because I wanted to play Gears of War 4. And so I also play a little bit of that. But I would rather focus on State of Decay 2 right now because it's a little more analogous to XCOM until the Gears of War XCOM clone comes out.
True.
But that game is fun. It's janky as hell. State of the Decay 2 I'm talking about here. The controls aren't great, but there's the metagame, man. I love the metagame in this game.
So what is the meta?
Building your town, man. Building your town and having relationships with the other communities on your map. And clearing stuff out and getting outposts to add different resources to your town. I'm kind of done with Walking Dead. It's boring me to tears at this point, and I see the formula, and now I can't unsee the formula, and it just kind of needs. To me, it just needs to end. They need to announce it's ending. Get invested again. That's when I'll really get into it. But I love that. I love the overarching theme of Walking Dead, which is the communities, like all the different bases that they've had over the course of both the comic and the show, and you get to do that. You get to make your own damn community in State of Decay 2 in a zombie hellscape, and I'm really enjoying it.
Do you defend them? Do they come under attack?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, especially if you're doing construction, or God help you if you install a generator.
Oh, because it makes like a bunch of noise.
Yeah. There's this whole like noise, aspect of of playing that game, and if you make too much of it, there's a much higher chance that a horde is going to attack your community.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like the combat's not particularly great or strategic. My best way to clear things out right now is just roll up in a vehicle, honk the horn to get the zombies to come outside, and just run them over. But, yeah, it's like I said, like the micro, not great. The macro, amazing and absolutely something I didn't know I wanted.
As long as one of them's good, right? And that's what makes you're always going to like one aspect of it better. But that's what makes the grind enjoyable and makes you want to go out, and maybe it's the danger of it. Maybe I'll lose these guys. But when I get back, I get to grind out that refrigerator I've been working on.
Exactly. So, some of it's so mundane. It's just like, oh, I just need to, man, you know what I need? I need a gas station, because in the apocalypse, apparently taking over a gas station means you get a steady stream of gas, which doesn't make sense. That location should have a finite amount of gas.
Doesn't have to,
but yeah, it works. So like I had one of those dumb moments where if I was streaming this, I'm sure people would have been screaming at me. But I'm sitting there wondering, like, why aren't my guys getting their stamina back after they sleep? They were sleepy. They went to sleep. Why isn't it? Come to find out, Kyle, after almost my entire community was permanently at half health and stamina, if you inhale the bloat, there's bloat zombies. If you inhale like the cloud infection that they release when they explode, your guy's going to be like permanently hurt / tired until you send them to the infirmary. So then I just had to send my entire community to the infirmary, which means I am now out of meds, which means I'm just doing supply runs for like the next 3 day cycles of this game.
Sounds like a good project game, though.
It is a very good project game, and it has co-op. So if you're bored, let me know.
I will let you know when I complete my own project with XCOM.
That is a really good project game as well. So
it's our version of train sets. I laughed at my grandpa, but now I'm sitting here with digital versions of the same thing.
you need it, man. You need you need something to tinker on.
Yeah. I actually have been enjoying my phone quite a bit. It's been nice to get away from the computer and still be able to read a screen. And I went on a really deep dive this weekend on Light's Hope Chapel, which is a pirated WoW Classic server, which with the excitement of WoW Classic, everyone's expecting it to kind of be announced release date at BlizzCon this year. It has been filling up like mad. And this thing went from, so Blizzard's number pop for a WoW server was about 3,500, according to these articles I've read. And this went from about 2,000 to 10,000 in a weekend.
Damn. And you're playing this on your phone?
No, I'm not participating. It's a pirated version of the game. I'm not going to mess with that stuff. I'll wait for Classic if I really want to play that. But people are jumping in, and because it's, pirated, there's no server for each place of the world. So everybody across the world is jumping into this one server to play WoW Classic. And people are forming lines that are stretching all the way from, you guessed it, the Highlands, basically, into the Undercity. And they are lining up trying to complete their quests.
Wow.
Because it's so overpopulated. There always was a bottleneck. It was rough. That 1,000 needles, kind of 30s to 40s. Oh, you would just hit a wall hard in WoW Classic. And that hasn't been updated naturally because this is the natural experience. So there's a bunch of dudes who have been playing on this server forever. There's also the guy who made the server who is just a god and flies around and does whatever he wants in it. But there's people, and they are helping the bottleneck by ganking the lower people. So nobody can level up in this thing. And it's been really interesting to watch people argue, discuss what elements of WoW Classic they would want changed. And you've got the purists that say this is the way it should be. If I work to get to level 60, I have every right to bottleneck this game. The bottleneck is part of the struggle. You should enjoy it. And there's other people saying that, I would like the new graphics. I'd like a new UI. Some people say, I want balance. If they could just treat WoW Classic Azeroth as a, competitive game, you're not going to add, you don't add new maps in this world. You just balance the classes. That's what I'd want. So I'm curious, what's your kind of investment into WoW Classic? We talked about a little bit here, even kind of giggled at it, but now as it's starting to become a reality, what would you want to have? It's so interesting to see the world, and we're not divided across, even in this game, there's two worlds. There's islands, there's instanced areas. This is the world, and if you're not in an instance, you are participating in a functioning globe.
Right. I mean, that's a big part of what I would like to get back to, right? Is the, significantly less fragmentation in where your population is. I mean, there's not that much of it in Modern WoW. The majority of the players of Modern World of Warcraft are in the new area. And it's a lot better now than it was last expansion in Draenor, when everyone was just hiding in their garrisons, where you couldn't see any other players. At least here, if you're in your order halls, you can see other players that are your same class, and there's a lot of them always running around. But I mean, it sounds you started to get into the ganking of lower level players. I mean, that would be. Are they asking for it to be PvP only? Because I would say, screw that. I'll never play it if that's the case. And also, Blizzard's not going to do that. That's silly.
No, and that is an aspect of this server that is set to PvP.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that sounds horrible to me. I have no interest in ever doing that.
I played on a PvP server for WoW Classic, I guess it's now called Vanilla, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed particularly that, after coming from Warcraft 3, that what was above the Barrens, the forest there, the jungle?
Ashenvale?
Yeah. Ashenville was crap. I did not want to go there. It was full of night elves, 24/7.
See, I was a night elf, and I thought Ashenvale was super cool because it was the first time I started to run into players from the Horde.
And that's what was so neat about it. And I always played at night. So was Nightstalk only available at night originally, or was it just if you stood still?
Oh, Shadow Meld?
Yeah, Shadow Meld.
Yeah, that was just a racial, man. You can do it all the time.
Yeah, that was the crazy thing about it, right? You scope the area, all right? It's safe, and then there'd just be night elves from nowhere, and it was such a great theming. And they even kind of, there were those missions where you had to find the hidden night elves for one of the camps there. And the fact that actual players were hiding amongst the trees was fantastic. I didn't want to stay there. I ended up actually moving all the way to the other continent at great effort and great time expense during that time period just to find somewhere else to quest. Torrin Mill.
I'm trying to think. Are you the way you mentioned Shadow Meld? Now I'm wondering if you could move at night in the old version. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I know night used to be darker originally, and then they kind of lightened it up because people were saying, I only ever get to play at night and I'd like to see the colors.
Fair. Yeah, now you're making me pull up Shadow Meld changes. No, I think you just always had to stand still.
Sweet.
Only way you could move is being a rogue. That has nothing to do with Shadow Meld.
Well, I mean, on a PvP server, there was a lot of rogues too.
Yeah, sorry. I've played a night elf for a long time, so I'm getting hung up on not that super important detail there.
No, but it's a fun experiment. It's fun to look back and see what those things.
Yeah, I just from what I would like. I don't know. The big hang up for me with Classic is trying to figure out what do I want from dungeons, because dungeons is the thing I'm really excited for. I love dungeons. It's a thing that's not too hard to get my friends together to go do. Rating, I'm assuming, is going to be completely insane. Plus, I have no interest to do Molten Core after they brought it back for the anniversary event, and it was terrible. But I do have a lot of interest in going back and doing the 5-mans, because that's where classic or vanilla WoW nostalgia lives for me, is the 5-mans and also leveling up through the zones when it was current. And so I'm trying to decide if I want it to just be the way it always has been, or if I want them to add in the LFG tool. And it's very hard for me to decide because I very much miss the old days of sitting around a meeting stone, which, by the way, weren't even in original vanilla. They were added down the line. I mean, by the end of vanilla, it was there, and we have found out that they're going to be doing the final vanilla patch. So I'm assuming meeting stones will be there. But just sitting there yelling into general or trade chat, LF1M healer, trying to find yourself a healer to go in, or trying to find yourself a tank to go in, or in extremely rare cases, trying to find yourself a third DPS to go in. That was such a community building aspect of World of Warcraft that by the time you actually got to go into the dungeon, you were friends with everybody except the healer, because you had nothing better to do than to sit there and talk to them.
I was the healer, but I was often trying to put together the groups. For me, I think the thing that I dislike the most about the changes to 5-mans isn't so much the LFG tool, it's the quests that update as you go. And that's a silly thing to say. In some regards, it was very frustrating to beat a quest or beat an entire dungeon, and then for them being like, "Yeah, go beat the final boss." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I just beat him. I'm wearing his head as my backpack. Like, what do you want?" But I loved I don't like grinding quests to level, but I enjoyed I remember it was Zulaman in no. What was the troll place in the Dead Northrend area?
Dead Northrend area. You're talking Lich King.
Yes, like north of Grizzly Hills, was it? And there was those big long staircases, and it had a lich inside of it, and a bunch of troll memorabilia everywhere.
It was Zul something. I always forget this.
Zul'Farrak?
Was it Zul'Farrak? It was Draktherin. Draktherin Keep.
Yes.
And Zuldrak. Right. Sorry, Zuldrak. Zul'Farrak is the 5-man in Daenerys, isn't it?
Who would get those confused?
Well, if I'm correct about Zolfaric being the 5-man and Daenerys, that one I remember it's very much like kind of burned into my brain. But yeah, it is Zolfaric. Okay, cool. I'm not completely insane. That was the first time I ever had someone ninja loot. In vanilla. Just a rogue ninja'd my male hunter boots that he couldn't even wear because he wanted to sell them for the gold. I just was so mad at that guy.
Gruul's Lair will always be that place to me.
Yeah.
Because there was one guy who just got everything. And everything was a side grade, but he always got it as one of the guild leaders. And I'm sitting here with like a green belt and my little mace, blue mace, and this dagger drops or something.
Yeah.
Drove me nuts.
Yeah.
I remember that area so well because all the quests built up to the instance. And only by grinding these chain quests and getting through them all could you eventually unlock the instance quest. And that's what made me do quests. And that's what I remember about Wailing Caverns, that whole area around. And even how it evolved, how interesting is it, with I guess that was more Cataclysm when it's actually like visually evolved with the centaurs invading and more interesting tech like that. But you saved that land and you found out the story eventually leading to the Wailing Caverns as though it was a mystery. And of course, later on there's a meeting stone there. Of course, there's a dungeon in there. You go through the cave and eventually get to the point and you're like, oh, I guess I can't go any further. But I love that aspect of it. And I hope that's what I'd really love to see in vanilla.
Yeah. Well, that should still be there because the original quests are going to be there.
I guess I think Asmodean forever burnt me out on calling me. And so I don't like it when Sylvanas is like, good, now advance and get the next boss. I'm like, shut up. I know. What do you think I'm here to do?
Fair. I'm with you on that. I can understand that. I mean, we used to go and seek out 5-mans when we would learn about them because of the leveling experience. You could just never know about the other 5-mans because the LFG tool did not exist. So I would group up with my friends and we would spend 45 minutes traveling across Azeroth to go and find something like Moradon.
Yeah, or particularly as a Horde player, the Dead Mines were a fascinating discovery. And when all you had was Thoughtbot, you knew it existed, but you didn't really, there was no maps that would tell you where you'd get that loot. You just knew it dropped somewhere in, was it Westfall or so?
Yeah. Oh, dude, Dead Mines was a big one for me as an Alliance player because it was the first. Yeah. It was the first dungeon I came across because I started in Daenerys. I missed. What's the one in Darkshore? I don't even remember anymore. It's a cavern. Oh, something cavern. It's a Naga. It's a hole with a bunch of Nagas in it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Isn't it like Ashara's teat or something like that?
Probably. I don't remember annoved, but I missed it entirely. So then we really wanted to see the human capital. Black Fathom Depths, thank you.
Yes.
Leon Noved in the chat room. I missed that entirely somehow, and then Katie and I were playing at the time. We really wanted to see the human capitals, so we went on this really long run because you had to take the boat to the wetlands, then you had to just do this huge journey to actually get to Stormwind. And then when we made it out there, we were the right level for Westfall, so we just started questing through there. And we had no idea that we were working up to a 5-man, and bam, we go to this dead-ass looking town, go through some mines, and oh my god, it's the Goonies.
Yeah.
It was really cool finding that naturally. But that's all gone. We already know it's there. We can't relive that.
And in particular, in this last expansion, I made an effort to always make it to the place first before I went LFG because I just didn't like suddenly being somewhere even more fabulous than perhaps the open world. Suddenly this great hall with these gods arguing at you, and you're like, where am I? How did I get here?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way, man. Because we did that series, folks can go to the A-Move YouTube and watch it. The A-Move does WoW. We did every 5-man up through Karazhan in Legion, and that was the most fun I had this expansion.
That's right. Yeah, we set a rule that we'd have to ride there, that we wouldn't just teleport in.
Yeah, we went as a group to just make it a little more old school, and that brought back good memories.
Yeah.
So you can still do it. It's just something you have to kind of set for yourself, which I think is healthy if you like the kind of role play aspect of fantasy worlds. So yeah. Oh, we definitely fell off some staircases in Karazhan chat room. That definitely happened.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an interesting discussion to watch. There's a lot of purists, of course, in the nerd kingdoms. It was interesting to see what the choice will be made as.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing I would just like to shout from the mountaintops. I want the new graphics.
I think that's fair, right? The new character models, the increased amount of fluff on the ground, the view distance, like, to deny us that seems silly. And there's those who argue against it.
They should do. I would like to see what they did with the Master Chief Collection. Let me bind a button that will just instantly swap from updated graphics to classic.
Yeah, the Master Chief Collection's a really interesting experiment in that, because the original game was so much more readable. The class colors, if you will, on the enemies made more sense. When you add sort of the crunchy graphics over it, it's tough to tell what's going on amidst all the smoke and dust and explosions.
Yeah, I just think it's beautiful. Like, World of Warcraft is a game that looks surprisingly beautiful for its age because of the work that's gone into updating just the fidelity of the textures. I mean, they're beautifully painted. Our characters now look like they walked right out of the art book, and I really like that. So that's like the one thing. I'm just like, let me have the new graphics, and just like give me the option to turn it off. Like, you can.
Yeah.
I know it's in the options now, chat room, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, make it a feature of WoW Classic, that like in everything. Like in WoW now, I mean, yeah, you can really downgrade your graphics, but I'd like to just have a button.
Show it off.
Good.
Like,
yeah.
Make that a selling point.
Yep. So, but yeah, man, I'm down for a classic. I don't know how much I'm gonna play. I don't know how much it's going to kind of usurp my play of current WoW, whatever current WoW is by the time classic comes out. A lot of it's, let's be honest, is going to come down to how many of my friends are playing. If you're in classic, I'm gonna play it. I know Katie's excited. She wants to re-roll our first tunes and go and kind of relive that nostalgia factor. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. But how much I actually stick with it, it's very dependent on the social aspect.
It's interesting to take the world down to such a manageable level, such a level where you will be interacting with people so much. I remember as like a horde group, we had our meeting in the Goldshire Inn one night. So we all just ran into Goldshire, killed everything, and met in the top room. And every time something would respawn, we'd kill it while we were having our guild meeting, just to show off. And that was a lot of fun. And when you think about these persistent worlds, how newer MMOs have tried to do, some of these future MMOs are trying to do city building, and how players control certain aspects of the game, you kind of wish when the world is smaller that those things existed. But is it our struggle, our pushback against those things that make us take over the Goldshire Inn as our base of operations and make that game so interesting?
Yeah, I think it is. I think when something's a little simpler, you make your own events, because that's, yes, like vanilla WoW's world never changed, but there were still big events brought upon by jerks taking over the Goldshire Inn that if you weren't logged in at that moment, you didn't get to see it, and you had to hear the story of it through general chat while you're trying to sell your wares at the auction house.
Yeah. Yeah, or the Doom procs in Ironforge. I was around for that.
Yep.
I forget the boss and his name, but if you teleported out fast enough, you could spread Doom among the entire populace.
Yep. Oh god, that was ridiculous. Or the pre-Lich King event where you got the plague, and it was very similar. You could spread the plague through capital cities if you were infected.
I thought that was fantastic. Granted, I'm a priest at that point. It was Shatrath. I could, I believe, cleanse my own diseases and whatnot, so I was rather unaffected and thought it was a hilarious good time. But I remember warriors and rogues just being pissed as hell.
I remember Shatrath being pretty tame because of heroic priests like yourself. But I remember being back in Ironforge trying to sell something and the whole auction house died. It was amazing.
That naturally won't be a part of WoW Classic, but...
So we think as of right now, but I'm really hoping that they expand it. And I think I mentioned this last week. I would like to eventually have a a vanilla server, a BC server, a Lich King server. That's where my interest runs out. But
yeah, and like, do you lock a queue? Do you unlock it over time? Is everything already unlocked? There's so many questions.
I mean, I would like them to use their character copying services that they have for, test servers and bring that over. Like, let me start with vanilla, but then if they announce like we're releasing a BC server, like let me take my maxed out vanilla character, copy it over to the BC server so that I can still have my max. I'm just going to play and grind out an existing vanilla character, but then carry that character over to Burning Crusade. Like that's my long-term hope, is that through Classic we get like as close to a perfect World of Warcraft archival history that's playable as possible.
It's an interesting comment. There are games like Dragon Age, of course, The Witcher, where you buy an expansion and you import your saves. But if I ever want to go, cuddle in my Mass Effect bed in 2, I can go do that.
Right.
And there's nothing stopping me, even though I've played through 3 and now, those events have transpired.
Right.
I see why as a business you would force everybody. And I'm thinking about this a lot, too, because I'm watching people throw their swords into portals right now. And I'm like, that's crap. That's awful.
They're throwing their swords into a sword, Kyle.
That makes less sense. But I saw a great little comic this morning that was they had taken Thrall's face and put it on Bilbo, and he was asking Frodo, "Might I see my old hammer again?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Thrall. I lost it." "Oh, what a pity." Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
I think it's fine. It's more pomp and circumstance than any of our tier sets got when we would walk in through the dark portal, kill a boar, and find a chess piece that was infinitely better.
Totally. And, your amalgamation of colors that you were in BC and throwing away weapons you forged out of that time period. Exactly. I totally understand it's a bit more ceremonious, but it is sad because I really liked this expansion. I liked the artifact weapons, and I'm sad to see them go.
I liked them, but I'm ready for them to be done. I miss looting weapons.
Sure, and I understand that.
So I'm leaning in the other direction, but yeah, dude, I'm stoked. Just bring it. I'm just excited to see what Blizzard creates. I'm not. There's a lot of angry comments anytime WoW Classic gets brought up, and I don't feel that strongly in any way. I'm just excited that it's happening, and I'm curious to see what Blizzard decides is their version of Classic. Because the weird pirated servers, they're going to keep popping up. Like, if that's what you want to play, you can play it. So, I don't understand the heated, kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Like, no, this is the way to do it. I don't have that opinion about Classic. I'm excited to see what they do.
And that's the crazy thing about our culture in some ways right now in nerddom, when we look at something like Star Wars. Like, for me, I am honestly frightened to express my opinions because I've been honest here. I didn't particularly enjoy the past 2 main movies. I didn't go see Solo because I just didn't care. But I don't want to wait, that man dislikes Star Wars. Put him in the box with the others. I'm like, oh, crap, no, please don't drop me in there. What do I need to say?
Yeah, there's a lot of very just, well, to borrow a line from a prequel, like dealing in absolutes happening in fandom right now, and I find it disgusting, and I want no part of it.
Agreed.
So, moving on. I rounded up some fun news crap for us to barrel through, Kyle. Do you remember Planters cheese balls?
I don't.
Really? Oh, damn! You weren't. This was a staple of our pantry growing up.
I remember peanut crisp would be for a munch, but there's something to put some good crunch, and then the machines that would build the crunchy. Outside so sweet, peanut butter cream, oh, a treat. A taste so enormously grand, they can fit in the palm of your hand.
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, you're talking about the peanut butter, like, they were sweet cookie, like, peanut butter filled, like, mini cookie peanuts.
Yeah.
Those things were amazing, too, and they need to bring those back. But cheese balls, it was basically Cheetos in an orb form, and it came in a a planter's tub, much like nuts come in, and they're delicious. And we always had them growing up, and apparently they're bringing them back for a limited run because we are now so old that 90s snacks are getting resurgences, much like Tab did a few years back.
When did he start looking like a New Yorker comic?
What?
The Planters man, Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut? Are you looking at?
He used to just scare the crap out of me.
I believe that's a newer take on the character.
He's a bit more approachable. Yeah, when he was there was the period where like he was a weird claymation thing.
Well, they're doing they pretty fairly modern Planters commercials that are stop motion. For like the last 2 Christmases.
Yeah, look at this. Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I just figured that you as a 90s kid would know exactly what these were.
No, well, I'm lactose intolerant, so the cheese poof were not my targeted. Though I did love. That's actually a poor thing. You know what? I think my mom had a stigma against them.
I was not aware that there was any actual cheese in most crunchy cheese snacks.
Yeah, and I didn't care when I was younger either, so that's a poor excuse. I'm trying to like. I think if it came in a tub, my mom was really sensitive to what she called tacky. And like even my snacks had to be a little fashionable.
That is very strange and I don't understand it.
No, me neither, but there's everyone has their weird holds up from childhood, I guess.
Like I don't even understand the concept of tacky food. I mean, I guess I understand it more today with the existence of places like Whole Foods, but in the 90s, what the hell did we have?
I honestly couldn't tell you, but yeah, that's a good point, right? Like, you know, you got the same food at Whole Foods as you do at a Walmart, but my mom will go to the Whole Foods. And, you know, to me, I'm just like, you mean it's cheaper at the Walmart? Okay. You'll be seen there. I'm like, by who? The people there are strange. I'm like, then I'll be a god. Like, I don't understand this idea that, like, what? So people are going to see me at Walmart and assume, but I look fashionable. So if anything, I'd look more fashionable at a Walmart.
Well, if you're down, Kyle, by all means, we'll find out if there's any actual dairy in this and we'll cause you issues. But I would love when these things that come out to actually eat some on the show.
The only reason I ended up ever trying anything like it was because of Cheesy Poofs, the South Park snack.
Yeah, but Cheesy Poofs are just the big puffy Cheetos. Cheetos Puffs. That's what those are, because they're oblong in shape.
Wait, these are different?
Yeah, these are circles. Or spheres, I guess is a better way to put it, because they are 3-dimensional.
Oh, but the cheese balls, yeah.
Yeah, they're cheese balls. But I'm totally buying some, and I'm going to bring it on the show. We should try and coordinate this, as long as it won't kill you.
There was some sort of event where Chester Cheetah had paw-shaped puffs.
I remember this.
Yeah, and I destroyed a whole bag of them, and I have never been able to do puffs since. I love the crunchy long ones, though. The vending machine ones, if you will.
Yeah, I prefer crunchy to puffs as well, but something about Planters cheese balls just rocked my world when I was young. So I'm excited about these returning.
You know what rocked my world as a child? Swiss cake rolls.
Oh, yes. They're so much better than Ho-Ho's because they come in a 2-pack.
No, and they were slightly like deconstructible too. So you could like choose to kind of eat the film off of it first and kind of leave you a cakey tube, or you could try to unroll it a little bit and eat it piece by piece.
I found unrolling it to be a fool's errand, but maybe I was just not dexterous enough to do it without completely maiming my cake.
Well, that's the problem. We had no goal in mind. See, as an adult, I would know that if I unrolled one, I could unroll the other and make a sort of sandwich. I never did that as a child. I would just unroll and then be like, well, crap, now I've kind of ruined my Swiss cake roll.
I feel like we need to start doing a workout segment on the show to offset our food discussions that always pop up, because it's almost never about healthy food.
I mean, I just came from a workout when we do this morning show, so I'm down to talk. You know, I'm already off the clock.
Nice. All right. Well, to me, cheese balls coming back is a positive. Let's talk about a negative. The original Back to the Future sneakers are disintegrating, Kyle.
Disintegrating.
disintegrating.
Oh.
One of the Back to the Future 2 self-lacing, does not actually self-lace, but in the film self-lacing Nikes, is currently up for auction. It's as of the Kotaku article that I'm referencing here, which went up a couple of days ago. It was past $40,000 on the auction. It's just one of them, not a pair. And it's the rubber bits of the shoe are disintegrating. It's past the 40K mark.
Oh, wow. The original Back to the Future 2 sneakers are disintegrating. That's the title on a Kotaku article? I can't believe it. It doesn't go on to say, and why you can't handle it. or start with the word whelp, which just can't handle articles that start with whelp.
Yeah, currently up for auction is a single shoe. So the link they have now is not to a single shoe, it is to a pair, and they are not disintegrating. So I don't know what's going on with Kotaku. And it is
$40,000.
It is not for $40,000. Oh wait, here's a different link. Yeah, no, this is. Oh, the listing you're looking for is no longer available. Check out this similar item. Oh, it's eBay's fault. It's eBay's fault. Usually you can look at a listing that has passed, but this is not working, and I'm not going to take a bunch of time and bad radio to find it. But yeah, they've got photos up on Kotaku. This is just, honestly, I find this kind of cool. It doesn't make me too sad. Like, this is just what happens with props, man.
Yeah, they're not meant to last, but I love the prop hunting stories and the, stories of something like the Hollywood sign. So it's always cool to check in where those things have ended up.
Yeah. I always just thought these were the coolest shoes ever. If I could sidebar real fast, this weekend I tried on a pair of slightly modern sneakers because I always do. I never go for comfort. I go for what I think looks the coolest, which is sure. I just live in actual Converse Chuck Taylors. That's my sneaker of choice. Recently tried on like a pair of just Adidas. Holy crap, they're comfortable. Sneakers are very comfortable, Kyle.
They are. Yeah. I'm wearing some crap shoes right now. Maybe they have a symbol. Oh my God. I mean, look at these things. What even are they? They are, oh, no, there's no telling. A gel blurred, is that a basic spelled with an @ symbol? What the hell are these?
So yours is some non-name brand's sneaker.
Yeah, we get our shoes at Goodwill, and anytime we find something really sexy looking, we look it up. And I have actually in my possession a $300 pair of leather, Skechers kind of looking things, flat bottoms. And then what I wore to BlizzCon was apparently a $600 pair of fashion shoes.
What?
Here in Seattle, man, there's just a bunch of hipsters running around wearing really expensive crap, and then they give it to Goodwill because they're not going to waste it. So Goodwill is a beacon. I assume maybe in Florida it's a sweaty mess, but up here it's beautiful.
It's a good place to find legitimate leather dress shoes. That's it, though. Yeah. It begins and ends there. The rest are just like, if you want golf shoes from the 50s, Florida's got you covered.
Yeah, you're right about the leather shoes, work shoes.
Yeah, but if you want some nice Oxfords, Florida Goodwill's not a bad place to check. Always in fashion. It's kind of morbid. It's basically, hey, what do people who are dying leave laying around?
That's true. But that's because they're basically a house cleaning service. I mean, we did the same. It was, it's a sad event, right? You're going through your stuff. You're like, oh, that's kind of nice. Well, I'll keep that. It's sad. The reality of which I don't like to dwell on too much. So let's move on and say that the Left 4 Dead developer is hiring for an unannounced AAA game in a, quote, globally known franchise. You and I have played quite a bit of Left 4 Dead together. Yeah.
This is our game. This is like our friend game that we never stream. We did stream it once, and we actually didn't find any power gamers that were like, oh, you got to get in the corner, the one by the pipes, that's your best defensive point. But well, that's because it didn't find any viewers.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody watched because nobody cared. If this happened, it had to be during StarCast because I don't remember it. So it would have been very, very early Twitch days. But I love Left 4 Dead and would love to see them do something that isn't Evolve.
The developer said in 2016 they're working on a dark fantasy co-op FPS set in a new universe. So have they changed their tone?
That's the thing I'm not sure of. They're either working on 2 games or they've pivoted. But
interesting.
I will play a new game from Turtle Rock, so bring it.
I wonder if they were inspired by Vermintide, if its success is going to spawn more of these types of games. Not that Vermintide was, all-encompassing Fortnite style, but it did have a decent showing.
Right. There's room for other games. I think there's a lot of room for other games right now because everyone else is just making battle royales, and I'm done.
Yeah. To say I'm done is just, to, again, be like, I'm not going to eat cheese. I haven't even tried them. Honestly, I don't know why. I feel broken, Garrett. I feel broken in our current gaming sphere because I just simply haven't played a single one. And I totally believe as a younger Kyle, I would have played those things because that's what all my friends are playing. But nowadays, I've got Heroes. I've got my project game. I just don't need a battle royale in my life.
They're very fun. I mean, I've talked on the show about how I very, very much enjoy PUBG and that Fortnite is not for me. But I get it, man. You got enough games. That being said, if you ever want to flirt with PUBG, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, did you pick up Vermintide? I think it's still on sale for the summer sale. 2 specifically.
I didn't. I did a lot of research into it, and I found that it has a loot system, which to me said that it wasn't beatable. And that's what I was kind of looking for at the time. I was looking for it right after I beat Divinity 2 Original Sin. And I had my co-op group ready. We had a group of 4. And it didn't match the requirements. Mainly, that it had a story to go through and that it was going to be completed. In this case, it's not loot boxy, but there are chests when you complete a level that can upgrade your character. And when you get upgrades in there, that means to me there's not a jump in aspect. Even like the Left 4 Dead community is really nice. Anytime that I've got in there, I only want to play on the harder mode. And there's a lot of guys that main that game. I get in there and they're like, hey, haven't seen you around before. I'm like, yeah, I'm new. I visit from time to time. They're like, well, as long as you can keep it together, you're cool. And that's all there is. No one's going to look at my gear score and worry that I don't have the best axe to be joining them.
It is something very cool about Left 4 Dead, but it's also something that keeps me from going years at a time from playing it. There's no loop there to keep me hooked. Obviously, there are people who, like you said, main it, but it's just something that I'll put down for 2 to 3 years at a time, and then one day decide, man, I could just really go for some zombie massacres, reinstall it, and play 4 hours of it in one day, and I'm good for another 3 years. Yeah,
the game is restrictive enough that there's really no way to power it. And that's something that I think the Warframe audience and experience struggles with, because there's such loot dependency, and much like an instance in a late version of WoW, you come to the expansion late, people are going to be like jumping up 5 rocks, then jumping over this, and then you mount up here, and you're just like, what are we? There's Nagas. They're right there. They're looking at me. But why don't we kill them? There's the boss. I can see it in the distance. There's the road. It goes down. I'm like, no, we're gonna parkour the cliff, and we'll skip all of it.
Promise me that you will play Classic with me, because you're my spirit animal when it comes to dungeon runs, Kyle.
I'm an innocent little boy.
Well, should we take some questions and wrap this up?
Let's do that.
Awesome. You can write in amovetv@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. We actually have an email this week, or you can tweet at us at GarrettArt, at Kyle Ferguson. Our first one is an email, however. It comes from Brady, and if our cheese ball discussion made you hungry, it ain't over yet. Hey, Kyle and Garrett, Brady writes, what's your favorite pizza toppings? Have been having Domino's cravings lately and want to switch things up. Love the show. Listen every week. Keep up the excellent content. Ooh. Well, my go-to is just sausage and green pepper. That's the default. That's what's saved in every pizza chain website in this home.
I like the theming there. It's got a nice kind of Italian green pepper sautéed together. That's one.
Yeah. I love onions, man. I don't care for them on pizza for some reason. They just get a little too wet.
Sure. Well, I think that's kind of the thing. They kind of build a crater around themselves in the cheese.
Yeah. What I like about I like that the green pepper, there's still a little bit of crunch. Still a little crunch when you bite into that green pepper.
When man. It's such a meme. I'm sorry. I wish I could enjoy it organically nowadays. Not like organic, like, Whole Foods organic. Just like, I wish I could say that I truly, before it was a thing, enjoy pineapple. Pineapple and mushroom is my favorite pizza toppings together.
That's a very unique mix that I have not heard of before.
I've never liked the ham part of it. I love the pineapple. I think it's a juicy delight. I understand when people say mushrooms, they taste like water. I'm like, I get it. I get it's a satisfying crunch, a give that to the pizza that I enjoy. And if you don't like cucumbers in your sandwich because they taste like water, then you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say satisfying crunch. Maybe it's sushi. I love sushi because the textures, and that's what I like about pineapple and mushrooms.
See, I love pineapple, but I don't like hot pineapple. I like I've kept my pineapple in the fridge and now I'm cutting it and it's cold and refreshing and juicy. So I am one of the folks, like, when you draw the hard line and be like, hey, pineapple on pizza, I'm on the nay. By all means, enjoy it. It's just going to be an issue if we have to split a pizza.
Well, and that's where my argument hits, is the pineapple's never piping hot because you ordered pizza and it was often delivery. And, when was your delivery pizza truly piping hot? Like, I do not want pineapple in the soup kind of mix. I don't want the ham and pineapple on the pizza, and I don't want it in Christmas dinner. Like, hot, piping hot pineapple, that's stomach acid. That's nasty.
See, I will return my pizza to the oven for 5 minutes if it's not as hot as I would like it when it gets delivered.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The only time room temperature pizza is acceptable is after I've had my first 2 pieces.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the bizarre things about life, right? You take a swig of water, you take a bite of bread, no problems. Pour water on your bread's ruined. What the crap? And same thing with a hot meal, right? It's piping hot when it gets to your plate. You eat over an hour at a fancy meal, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just if it shows up that way, you're disappointed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. My favorite weird one, weirder one, at least weird for us, as of recent, and I think you might have been over when we ordered one of these. Maybe, I don't remember. But peppercini and salami.
Yeah, you did do that, and that was good.
We tried it because when we have a large group over for role playing, usually Domino's or Pizza Hut has like a 3 pizza deal, and that's just such a. I run out of ideas at 2. Okay, like I have an idea for toppings at 2 pizzas, and so there was that third one laying around, and one time we were just like, screw it, pepperoni and salami. That sounds like it might taste good. It's delicious, and I love it.
Honestly, I thought it was perfectly on point because anytime I'm in Florida, I have so many deli meats because of Publix that getting deli meat on my pizza just felt natural.
I love deli meats, man. Oh, I went to a Jersey Mike's sub over the weekend. I haven't been to one in a while. It was so good.
Oh, we don't have one of those up here. We don't have Publix subs. There's a Jimmy John's, but I mean, Jimmy
John's is the most, like, it will do.
Yeah.
But I'm not excited. I don't get excited for Jimmy John's.
Well, and like Subway's like, would you like to be satisfied for 20 minutes max? It's air.
Subway is, I have to eat. Jimmy John's is, it'll do.
Yeah.
That's my ranking of subpar chains.
Right. Like you can get the wheat bread on your Jimmy John's, and then you've got kind of a meal, and like I appreciate the tube sandwich when I'm driving, and I'm on the go. That's nice. Yeah. Sub chains that I get excited about are places like Quiznos or Firehouse for my hot subs, and if I want a cold sub to get excited about, it's Jersey Mike's. Might be a Firehouse up here somewhere, but I haven't seen one. Man,
I will never. I've just apparently will never move to Washington because that all sounds terrifying to me.
I would give up this. I gave up the subs for pho, or pho, if you will. I love soups and Vietnamese sandwich places.
Oh,
good.
I get really excited about Vietnamese noodle places for banh mi, for their sandwiches. Banh mi is amazing. Pho, in my opinion, is the worst of all Asian noodle dishes. I will still eat it. It's just it's the Subway of noodle dishes to me. It's like it will do. It will serve the purpose. But if there is udon or ramen within a 30-minute drive, I'm not getting the pho.
Interesting. Like, is it the taste? Where does that hit the wall?
It's just hot grass water. It's just the most. It just it doesn't do much for me. It seems like the laziest version of a hot noodle dish.
Well, what's your opinion of like wonton?
I would actually. Well, it's right there with pho. I would say
Okay.
pho. Wonton is a side. Pho is a meal.
What about what's the soup they serve at sushi places?
Miso, also a side,
Miso.
not a meal.
Okay, cool. Well, not a meal, obviously, right? Like, but you wouldn't. So when you're eating your miso, do you spoon it or do you pick it up?
I spoon it until the spoon is no longer convenient, and then I pick it up to finish it.
Okay. So I think we're finding that in general, the Asian soups just don't satisfy.
Oh no, because ramen and udon are two of my favorite things in the world. We will drive an hour to get ramen in Tampa.
Oh, so have you had just like poorly loaded pho?
No, I've had pho in California and here. We have like a ton of pho joints here, and I've never been impressed.
Huh?
I won't turn it down. It's fine. There are days when it's something I want, but I think it's the least interesting of hot noodle meals.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to two of your favorite ramen places with you, and they are damn good. And to me, I put those both in the same camp. So there's some sort of divide where, but to me, in my brain, I'm just saying these are both the same. They are delicious. They are equal.
Gotcha. I don't think the noodles are as good, and the reliance on cilantro bums me out.
Yeah, I do go without the cilantro. I don't know. And Mexican, too. Just gross stuff.
Yeah. But it's fine. Enjoy your pho, sir. More for
Why
you.
Why do airports enjoy cilantro so much? That's what I hate.
Airports?
Yeah, like you try to get an airport burrito. It's one of the best kind of full meals you can get at an airport, and they just load it up.
I usually just go for a club sandwich at an airport.
Yeah. Wendy's is like 5 times the price at an airport. Jeez.
Oh, a lot of times, though, I'm connecting through Atlanta, and they have a Boar's Head restaurant, and they also have Popeyes. So that's usually what I eat there.
Yeah. Damn, the South has all the good sandwiches. Popeyes. Damn, they had Popeyes in Chicago, though, but damn it. I want a
if you're talking about O'Hare, you should just get sushi. They have a ballin' sushi restaurant in O'Hare.
Yeah, we sat there last time we passed through.
I love this. I did not plan on ranking sub sandwich chains or having a discussion of the best airport food. That's why I love this show. At Hey Tall Man has just a statement. This is not a question, but after y'all talked about it last week, and my wife telling me for about a year that I have to see it, I finally saw The Fifth Element. Oh, this is it, Kyle. This is why we exist. I can now die happy knowing that one more person has seen The Fifth Element because of our show.
Good. I got more on my list, but I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Anyway, this was Saturday, and my brain is still sore. I now understand why my wife says multipass whenever I mention the word multiplayer. This is what's great, man. I love unearthing references. Like shit you've just been inundated with your entire life but never got, and then you watch the thing it's from, and now you suddenly understand it. That's so much fun to me.
The first episode of the original Star Trek series I ever saw was I think it was called the Nomad robot, or it wasn't a robot, it was a probe. Excuse me, trivia fans. And I was blown away because I finally understood so many references, and by watching that original series with like the goatees and everything else, you just suddenly across the universe understand so much. It's weird to me to think that Fifth Element would be one of those, but Fifth Element was something I had to sit down and seek out. My parents saw it; they didn't like the sexual nature of it, so it wasn't allowed in the house. I remember seeing it in like multiple hotels, and it got turned off on me. Particularly the beginning, the shuffling robots and the finger key. And that's when it would get turned off because soon the naked straps were coming up.
Do you think you're going to have the same rules about nudity versus violence for your children as your parents had for you?
I do fear that I will be more sensitive to violence because it is kind of bizarre to see how many toy guns there are when you start thinking about it, and like giving your child toy guns and watching would run around and bang bang, and then they like I wanted to be a stunt guy when I was younger, right? I loved dying. One of my favorite activities as a kid. And I'd play the good guy until the bad guy died, and then I'd switch over to playing the bad guy so I could die. I loved dying. It was and like the flails and the throws and just we had a trampoline, so I'd throw myself to death.
Oh yeah, we would do that in pools. Like
yeah,
my grandparents had a pool, and so dying and falling in the pool was just a blast. But we would also play Mario, where we would like line up the inner tube and try and get through it like it was a pipe.
Well, and to bring this all crashing down, I remember one time I had my Nerf guns and I loved dodgeball. So I got my grandpa to shoot the Nerf gun at me so I could dodge the bullets. And about like 3 minutes into it, he just stopped, dropped the gun and walked away. And I was like, guess he didn't enjoy the game. He was in Battle of the Bulge. He was in World War II. I don't think he enjoyed the game.
Gotcha.
Now that I'm adult looking back, it's like, ooh. Well, probably not.
You didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't have a concept for therapy?
No, I didn't. At 6 or even 4, or whenever I was loving that. No, but that breaks my heart nowadays.
Yeah, it's some rough stuff, man. I have a different, I think we mentioned last week, I learned to shoot at a very young age. So I have a kind of different concept for guns growing up in the South.
Sure.
But we have had water moccasins chase us down, so it's a little different here.
Water moccasins?
They're very aggressive, deadly poisonous snakes.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like wet shoes.
No, you never. Well, they're also commonly referred to as cottonmouths.
Okay, I've heard. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's like serious business.
Same snake. Yeah. Can kill a grown human. So yeah, like there's just, I grew up where there were things that could kill us.
I think in the end, like the fun of it is just too fun. And I doubt that, I'd like to assume that I won't become sensitive. I think, Kristen will be on me to not restrict those sort of things. But
yeah, in my mind, I have no plans to have children, but if I did, I feel like I would probably still let my children consume violent content. I think the only change I would make is not be as weird about nudity. Because I feel like if I just introduce that sooner, they're going to have a lot less hang-ups later in life.
Yeah, that's a good part of the discussion too, because the glorification of breasts in our society is rather bizarre at times. And the for lack of a better word, pursuit of them as a teen is almost religious, and it could have been curbed by just making it more common in a sense. Like, don't hide them every time they're on the TV.
Yeah. I don't
let it be a part of the other gender's body.
Yeah, I don't understand it all that much. But I've also like now I've gone through years of figure drawing, so like that's in my head a way I would probably introduce my offspring to the human form.
Yeah, That's true. Like, movies are trying to arouse you. And if you see it in kind of an art aspect, or like look at the human body, what it's capable of, that is probably a better way to appreciate those things. And I think in particular, for me, because because of its hidden nature, it became a pedestal. And I had no way to understand how I was supposed to be attractive to the other sex, because I didn't have those super hidden parts. Dudes are just walking around with their shirts off. And in general, you never take your pants off. So everyone never takes their pants off. So you're not hiding anything anyone wants to see down there. So what have you got? What have you got to show? You don't got boobs, so you don't have anything that's going to attract anybody. How does this even work? And eventually you find out, like, muscles, confidence, all these, these things, or, people are all different. Might be other things too.
Not giggling when you see boobs is probably an attractive quality.
Yeah, well, I think that comes into the confidence aspect of it, right? Like, you got to be cool under pressure.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you can. And we have listeners in the EU who are just like, oh man, this is so weird. Like, I get it, but in the States, this is how it is, man. Like, there's still a faux pas about nudity, and I just find it odd that we're still dealing with this in 2018.
I remember going to the sixth grade. I went to London, and their advertisements were shocking and erotic. And to them, they were just ads, normals.
Oh yeah, you remember when like you could first start like seeing video over the internet, like German commercials. That's still a thing. We still share German commercials because, oh, look how racy it is and how off color and sexual, and it's just funny.
Yeah,
it's freaking funny.
I do feel like there's been a decrease in like the black labeled magazines at the grocery stores. Those don't exist anymore.
I mean, they're still made. I just think most grocery stores don't carry them.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, dude, Publix is still super weird about their magazines. Like, Cosmo gets the plastic card over it, so you can't see anything other than the name of the magazine.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, Publix is, I actually don't know Publix's history, but they seem
super religious is the history. Yeah.
I mean, I picture them in the same place as Chick-fil-A. They're just not closed on Sunday.
Actually, that's a really solid analogy. They don't have as questionable world beliefs as Chick-fil-A. But it's pretty close. It's pretty damn close. But they make amazing subs.
Like all things, there should be a balance.
Thank you, Drizzling Rose, who writes, a nice voice is the most attractive aspect for me, Garrett and Kyle.
It's important.
It is.
But also something that you can't necessarily control. I remember being horrified about multiple things growing up, about, how I would turn out. And I remember one time when I was sick, I finally had a rasp to my voice. And I was like, please, let this be my forever voice.
My voice is definitely at its sexiest when my throat is at its most painful.
I don't know how voice actors do it sometimes.
I don't either, man. I don't either. Yeah, it was weird. I made some very strange decisions on how to make myself attractive to prospective mates in high school, but it worked. So, I mean, I met my wife in high school.
I mean, my biggest I had the whole goth phase because in my mind I wanted to attract a goth girl. So my understanding was if I dressed like I wanted to attract, that's how I would attract those people. Didn't work out because I didn't have the confidence behind it.
Yeah, spiky hair, ridiculous clothes from Hot Topic. That was my jam.
Worked out.
It did. Also,
was Katie spiky haired and ridiculous clothes, would you say?
No, Katie was more of a, I mean, she eventually kind of got to that, but when we first met, she was more of like surfer, even though she didn't surf. Blink-182. She looked like a Blink-182 fan. Let's put it that way. Which, as we've gotten into our later years is kind of just how we dress now. Actually, we probably look like we listen to Blink-182. I think that's a fair self-assessment.
Acceptable, though.
Just dicky shorts and graphic T-shirts.
I'm afraid that my mind will forever be seduced by Express Men, and I really enjoy the not business jacket, but the, what do you call it? Like a bomber jacket with a hoodie under it.
Oh yeah, I like that too, man. Like just New York style in general, or city style. There's a part of that I very much enjoy. It's just of where we live. It's too damn hot, so shorts and a T-shirt is the uniform. But because of that, I get very excited about dressing up. I love having to wear a suit. I get really stoked about it. I just don't have a reason to wear one every day, and shouldn't, because I would probably have a heat stroke.
Man, I always think I look the most, if may I use baller, when I have the headphones around my neck and the sunglasses working like a headband to hold back the mane of hair, and I'm a little unshaven,
Yeah.
I was doing those express lips.
I was very excited how I looked running around New York, because it was a hoodie and a denim jacket on top of it with like a beanie, and just like I just looked like I should be hanging out in the Lower East Side, and I was, and it was cool.
That's why I love weather, because you get to change up your look over the year.
Yeah, sadly that doesn't really happen in Florida.
No, it doesn't. I hear you guys are awful right now too.
It's very hot, but dude, it's time to go to the beach, and I'm ready for it. It was great. The sun was out for like 2 hours yesterday when it wasn't raining, so we just made some margaritas and just found a ray of sun like we were cats and just sat in it, and it was perfect. It was everything I wanted from yesterday.
Awesome.
Our last question we'll take today is from @Sir Crowels. If there is one thing you could perhaps teach your younger selves, what would it be? Greetings from the UK. Hope you both have a lovely day. That's so kind of you. Thank you. Stop noodling.
Noodling?
Stop noodling.
What's noodling?
The best way I can describe it in like art is so you have a general understanding of how to sketch a completed piece.
Yeah.
So imagine you want to draw a wizard in a chair in his lab. He's sitting in his little wizard lab. He's sitting in a chair. Maybe he's holding a skull or mixing some type of potion. Maybe this is an alchemist I'm describing. You want to draw an alchemist in his lab.
Okay.
What you should not do is what most people naturally want to do, which is, I'm going to almost like printer logic. I'm going to start in one corner and work my way across the paper. Or like you kind of sketch it out, but then you just like get really hung up on like rendering out an eyeball. That's noodling.
Yeah.
That's noodling. What you should do is work on the entire image as a whole and just keep refining it until you're finished. And instead, many people, and I was very guilty of this too, and still am, and have to catch myself, is just like focusing in on one aspect. Maybe it's a thing you're very, like it's fun, or you have a greater understanding of how to render this one thing out rather than another piece. And you just get hyper focused on it, and then suddenly you just have this super rendered eyeball and nothing else on the page.
Yeah, I believe I showed you a painting I did where the book looked amazing, but the rest of it was crap.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Like, don't hyper focus.
See, when I thought you were saying noodling, you meant like that modern art kind of thing, where like it literally looks like there was one piece of spaghetti that they drew and it made a female form. So it's kind of like this, like the leg almost looks like an ampersand, and like then that folds up into like the head, and then like the eye. It's like it was drawn by an Etch-a-Sketch. Like the eyes are both like connected somehow in some sort of weird sonic way, because that turns into the hair.
No, not at all what I was getting at.
Okay, like you literally took a noodle and made it art.
Don't forget. I guess if I'm going to put it, let me put it in StarCraft terms: macro, don't micro. Macro, I think, is more important than micro.
Yes, yeah, that's an important aspect. Mine's not too different, because growing up, my mom was concerned about her weight a lot of the time, and so I always heard about diet and exercise. And in particular, the program was called Body for Life that she got really into. And I joined her for it because I was a chubby boy. I was 4'11" until like halfway through 10th grade, until I finally shot up to my 6'4". So just imagine same weight, 150, and then I shoot up and I'm the same weight. But I spent so much time trying to get muscle, and doing really heavy workouts. But the words are diet and exercise. So to my mind, diet was always a lack of food. Always a lack of food. And so I starved myself. I, for a long time was extremely bony, unhealthy a lot of the time, skipped meals because I believed the diet to the exercise, and I didn't understand that you have to have fuel to make muscles, and the amount of time I wasted in my youth working out to no avail but to exhaust myself, give myself headaches because I was undernourished, is just frustrating to think back on. And nowadays I'm at 175 right now. I want to be 200. I want to be 190. And I just struggle. I'm just not used to eating in my day. In fact, one of the first, lots of people bail on sleep. First thing I bail when I'm busy, meals. Just skip all the meals. Give me coffee, give me water.
Yeah, me too. One of my favorite things to do when I'm trying to lose weight is like intentionally sleeping in, because I'll just skip breakfast and go straight to lunch.
Sure. Right? Like, and those aren't good.
No.
And like you say, if I would have understood the nutrition, what was required to actually build muscle, like that's why I'm kind of mad at things like Batman, or actually a lot of all these Marvel movies. I'm a little mad. There needs to be more eating scenes, because there's no way these guys are this giant for such long periods of great physical exertion, and they're never shown eating.
You should just watch Dragon Ball Z. It's the most accurate depiction of how much you need to eat to gain that much muscle.
Yeah. Or, in Last Airbender, nobody is ripped as hell, but they're always stretching at the start of the episodes. And I really appreciate that, because then they're flipping around like mad.
Yeah. The Ninja Turtles is pretty good about that, too. They always, were shown doing their, like, exercises, like practicing their kata.
Pizza.
Well, I was going the pizza route. I was talking about them practicing, like, their attacks. They
were bulking on pizza.
They were bulking on pizza.
Granted, they had not an exoskeleton, a shell, which was formed to look like muscle, so they kind of cheat. They kind of airbrushed on their abs, if you will.
Yeah, but it's just the abs. I mean, have you seen the turtles have some serious legs, man? They don't skip leg day.
That's true. Well, they're carrying a shell.
Well, then how do you explain their ripped biceps?
Have you ever seen like Santa?
I have.
Check out his calves. Check out Santa's calves next time.
How are you seeing Santa's calves? He's always wearing boots and pants.
Well, I'm talking about like summer Santa. Like you see a guy and you're out and about and you're like, damn, that's a good Santa. And then you ask him if he's Santa and he totally is. Like, those guys have some rockin' calves.
It's because they're carrying around the Santa belly.
They're carrying around that jolly, It's heavy.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you for that, Kyle. Thank you. Well, if you'd like to keep the questions coming, send them to amovetv@gmail.com, or Monday mornings when I'm prepping the notes for Weeksauce. I always send a tweet out on my Twitter account, Garrett Art, saying, hey, I'm prepping for Weeksauce. Leave me some questions. So follow me, Garrett Art, on Twitter, or write in to amovetv@gmail.com with your questions for Weeksauce. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you all for joining us. Kyle, before we go, where can everybody find all the other fine content that you're producing?
You can find my weekly Heroes Morning Show starting at 10 a.m. and starting right now over at twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson. But I don't normally do this, but let's advertise this show at the end of its own show. I love this show. It is my favorite start to the week. Couldn't ask for a better way to start my Monday. And thank you all for listening.
I'm with you, man. I really enjoy it. I don't think we do a good enough job promoting it over on Into the Nexus or other podcasts. So get the word out, folks. If you like this show, introduce it to at least one friend. We'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I would also like to promote my solo show. It's called R2T2. You can find it by searching for R2-T2. It's a reference to the 2 R's and 2 T's and the spelling of my first name. But this past Saturday, Katie and I recorded an episode. My wife sat down. This is now her third time doing a podcast with me this year. She's never been on mic before. She's always involved. She always helps me with stuff. She is the camera producer for every BlizzCon or any other live conventions that we do. But she is a very shy person. Not an extrovert by any means, but she has been killing it when she comes and sits in on R2T2 with me. And if you enjoyed the walk down World of Warcraft memory lane that happened on this episode, you're really going to like the most recent episode of R2T2. It's called Cars and Chimeras. And the first half of the episode is just entirely us reminiscing about starting World of Warcraft back in vanilla.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
why Chimera? Is it the hunter pet?
Yeah. Mostly just because we also talked about cars on the latter half, and I love doing cars and something as titles.
It has a good ring to it.
When cars come up. So, I was like, what's in WoW that starts with a C? And Chimeras was the first thing that popped into my head.
That's what I'd name my Wizard Airbrush van company.
Cars and Chimeras?
Yeah.
Killing me. Oh, my Lord. Yes, Kilmarnock is right. Katie is the uncredited executive producer in my life. So go listen to that R2T2 wherever podcasts can be found or at namemove.tv. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Weeksauce. We helped you get a great start off to your week. We'll be back next Monday, and we'll see you this Thursday for the next episode of Into the Nexus. But until then, good luck and have fun.
Take care.
Sweet.
Woo.
This show is very fun.
Yes, and therapeutic.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hold on a sec. Right. Okay, now I can hear you.
Sweet.
Oh, it's a blasty blast.
The
Look at all
floof.
this. What's happening here? What is this?
Humidity.
You damn right.
Would be my
it is.
guess.
Open up the dictionary, go to humidity. Photo of this.
Photo of just the hair.
Well, you got to get out of here, don't you?
Yep. So I'm off to twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson.
Cool.
Later, man.
Hang around and edit the show, so I'll probably be here for another 15 minutes, folks.
Sweet. Well, we'll be doing an intro, so hang out with Garrett, and then it'll host my channel, so I'll see y'all there.
See ya! I am going to, however, cut the stream so I can upload this really quickly, so if you want to hang out and ask me questions while I edit, don't go anywhere. Stream will be right back.